Hello, and it's nice to be learning with you again today. Today we're actually going to do days 5 and 6 together because day 5 of this book, the Chafetz Chaim basically just explains the structure of the book, where he says that what he did is like we said last time, he went through all of the Talmud and he gathered all of the sources because they were spread throughout the Talmud and all the laws of speaking properly, of proper speech, and he put it into one compiled book. And he said that he wrote his book in kind of two sections. First section is all the laws of Lashon Hara, and then the second section is all the laws of something called Rechilas, which we'll get into, which is spreading gossip. And he said, and then in the next part of his book, he put all the sources for everything that he teaches about so that nobody could say, this is not real, this is made up. He has a source for every single law that he teaches in his book. It's also very funny because he explains why he named the book Chafetz Chaim. So what's funny is that a lot of people think that his name, he's a very famous rabbi, he's very well known, and people think that his name is the Chafetz Chaim. People actually, that in fact was not his real name. People named him that or called him that after this very famous work that he wrote, the Chafetz Chaim. And he chose this name and this title for the book because he took a verse from Tehillim that says, Mi ha'ish ha'chavetz chaim, who is the man who chooses life? It's the person, Nusur l'shon chameira, who decides to turn their mouths away from evil. And he explains, he just goes through the basis of his book. He said he avoids any exaggerations in his book, and he really just tries to give the straight law. And he says when one will ponder the sin of Lashon Hara and understand its significance, the hair on his head will stand on edge from the magnitude of this sin. So that is basically what day 5 is, and we're going to move on now to day 6, which is called Sound Advice. So he continues to explain on day 6 that, some of the thoughts going through his head when he was making this book. He said he discussed it with a lot of his friends who were Gedolei Torah, huge, great Torah scholars, and he cross-referenced Talmudic sources to check for any contradictions. And he hopes that the person who studies this will really take his words to heart and realize that he's not exaggerating, this is just the law. Now he goes on to say that he knows there are people who really enjoy speaking Lashon Hara, and he said such people will read his book and they will try to find leniencies. They will try to find things that he said, because there are going to be times when there's exceptions that we're going to see when it's important to tell somebody something that could be harmful. And he said people who don't care about Lashon Hara will look through this book and they will just find the leniencies and they will use that as a reason to defend why they can speak Lashon Hara. But he said, nonetheless, I'm writing this book anyways because it says in the Torah, the ways of Hashem are straight, and the righteous will walk in them, and the sinners will stumble over them. And he's not going to not write a whole book just to worry about them. He said, some people will say, I shouldn't even learn this book because it's so much better to do sins unintentionally because I don't know about it. Once I know about it, I'll be guilty. He said that doesn't hold true. That's if someone truly doesn't know about something. That's not if somebody purposely avoids learning about something so that they don't have to do it. I'm never going to learn about kosher. I'm never going to learn about Shabbos. So I can never say I knew. But you know that it's out there. It's your part of your obligation to learn a little bit more about it and to try your hardest. Then he says that basically there will also be people, which is probably most of us, that will read these laws and they will say, this is beyond my capabilities. I need to speak Lashon Hara. This is too hard for me. But the Chafetz Chaim says, you will find that the study of these laws will make you more aware of Lashon Hara, so that even if, God forbid, you should stumble, you will at least not be in the category of a Ba'al Lashon Hara, someone who is a habitual speaker of Lashon Hara, whom our sages say will not merit to greet Hashem. So that's a really beautiful point, because he's saying himself, even if you're still going to stumble, by learning these laws, you'll at least become somebody who is aware that Lashon hara is something we shouldn't be speaking, evil speech, slandering one another, and you won't become this habitual person. It will be more in your consciousness. He also he continues to say that the study of these commandments will help the reader to realize the severity of this sin and the damage that words can cause, and it will also weaken your inclination to want to speak Lashon hara. Because he says that it goes on in the Midrash to say that when a person studies something and ponders something, it actually weakens their evil inclination to do it when they realize how severe and intense a sin is. And he concludes that a lot of speaking Lashon hara is just a habit. A lot of it's habitual. We're so used to just saying, so what's new? What'd you hear? What's going on with Sophie and the guy she's dating? We're so used to just the habit of talking about people. But the more we learn it together, the less it will be a habit. We'll become more aware. Oh, maybe my conversations shouldn't be centered around people. I could talk about a million things. I don't have to talk about Sophie and who she's dating and why they're not engaged yet and all the other things we love to talk about people and how she has commitment and this and that, right? I'm just making up an example. But the more that we break the habit, the more we'll realize it's really not as hard as we think to not speak badly about